Welcome back everyone. We're going to take a look at 6.4 where they first name drop trigonometry. Actually already doing trigonometry, they just didn't use this word yet. And I think it's a rather important paragraph because this ties the knots together and teaches you how you can use trigonometry, what it is, and how you can use it to calculate sides and angles as well. And the first theory bit is called SOHCAHTOA or SOHCAHTOA. Yeah, that seems a very strange name for a theory bit, right? Let's take a look uh, how they explain this weird abbreviation here, because it's an abbreviation. First of all, they're going to introduce you to a new thing. If you take a look at this triangle right here, and let's say we're taking a look seen from angle A, we knew that the tangent of angle A is opposite divided by adjacent, right? And previous paragraph we discussed that the sine of A is the rise divided by the slope length. We're not going to say slope length and rise again. We're going to say it like this. And I would rather have that the book immediately called out like this, but okay. The sine of angle A is the same as the opposite sides divided by the hypotenuse. That's the sine of angle A. Then we're left with one. We haven't used the adjacent sides in combination with the hypotenuse yet. And this is the new thing that we're going to introduce to. And again, they translate this to the first name is the cosinus. That's the Dutch name, cosinus. In English, it's called the cosine, actually, not the cosinus. Okay, so you see cosine equals in Dutch cosinus, Latin term, right? The cosine of an angle is the same as the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. So here it's AB divided by AC. And those three things, you can say together, there are actually more, but those three are the most important so-called trigonometric ratios, de goniometrische verhoudingen. So if we're doing trigonometry, we're using those things to calculate stuff in triangles, you could say. That's what trigonometry is. And now that we also have the cosine, they're going to give you an overview of the three important trigonometric ratios: the sine, the cosine, and the tangents. The opposite side divided by the hypotenuse, the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse, or the opposite side divided by the adjacent sides. Okay. In Dutch, you can abbreviate this to SOS Castoa. So that's what's given right here. In English, this will abbreviate to SOH Castoa. And how do you abbreviate that? SOH, sine is the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. And TOA is tangent, is opposite side divided by adjacent sides. But because in Dutch we don't call the hypotenuse something with an H, yeah, we can. In Dutch we can call it the hypotenuse, but we don't do that often. We often just call it de schuine zijde. But sine is still sinus, en opposite is still overstaand, en adjacent is aanliggend. Dus die letters blijven wel hetzelfde. Dus in het Nederlands wordt deze afkorting SOS, of SOS zeggen sommige mensen. Ik zeg meestal SOS Castoa. SOS, omdat ik weet niet waarom, getallen ruimte vind ik heel leuk. Toen ik al op de middelbare school zat, stond het plaatje al in mijn boek. Met een zinkend boot die zegt SOS en de boot heet Castoa. Whatever floats your boat. Well, this boat's not really floating anymore, but this you can use to remember the actual abbreviation, or you can remember the English abbreviation. I don't really care which one you prefer. Just know that in 4th grade you're going to do mathematics in Dutch, and then oftentimes I think most students will say SOS Castoa. En in Dutch that just means sinus is overstaand gedeeld door schuin, cosinus is aanliggend gedeeld door schuin, tangent is overstaand gedeeld door aanliggend. In English, sine is opposite divided by hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent divided by hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite divided by adjacent. And if you do not master those things, you will get in trouble. Of course, not when you're doing the exercises, right? But at the end of the chapter, you now have time to practice this, but it's rather important that you know that the sine is the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. If you do sine and you do adjacent divided by hypotenuse, then everything will go wrong. And with everything, I mean literally that whole exercise, because nothing will work anymore. And with this actual information, we can now start calculating quite a lot in right angle triangles. Again, an example here. So let's say I have this triangle here, DEF, and we're going to take a look at this from angle E. You can also use angle F, of course, but they take angle E. And the sine is the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. So DF divided by EF, it's given right here. Then the cosine is the adjacent DE divided by the hypotenuse, EF, it's given right here. And the tangent, the first one that we practice with, is the opposite divided by the adjacent, so DF divided by DE. And again, you can use the abbreviations here. If you say the sine of angle E, then say SOH or SOS, opposite divided by hypotenuse. Or you can say overstaand gedeeld door schuin, SOS. Okay? And the first exercise that you will do with this are just you practicing with expressing sides in a triangle in such a way. So they want you to express a ratio of two sides when they're giving you a sine or a tangent or a cosine of an angle. And here there are no measurements or dimensions known. So they just want you to write down this expression in such a way. So here, for example, if they ask you the sine of angle Q, this one, then what you should do is first the sine. Oh, right, SOH. So from angle Q, the sine, I need to find the opposite and the hypotenuse. Well, the opposite is here, PR here, right? That's opposite to angle Q. What is now the hypotenuse? Well, that is the longest side, or the side you can say that's opposite to the right angle. So here the hypotenuse of this triangle is PQ. So here the sine is going to be PR divided by PQ. They want you to write it down like this, and I want you to write it down like that first in all your calculations as well, just safety net. The tangent of angle Q, well, tangent, TOA, I need to find the opposite side of Q and the adjacent side of Q. Opposite is still PR divided by the adjacent, that's here QR, right? Not QP of PQ, because PQ is the hypotenuse. So here you find PR divided by QR. Now they switch to another angle, the sine of angle P. Well, the sine, right, SOH, I need the opposite side and the hypotenuse. I need the opposite side, QR in this case, and I need the hypotenuse, that's still PQ. So here this is QR divided by PQ. And the cosine of P means CAH. Here I need the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So here I need PR divided by PQ. Right? And that's how you first start practicing with those trigonometric ratios. So this is now introduced as trigonometry. Okay, so now you finally know why this chapter is called trigonometry. Bit late, I guess, but better late than sorry, I think it's in English. I think I'm going to cut off this video right here. Good luck, and maybe I'll see you in Theory B.